All right, guys, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you have seen that I have a major problem with my Jeep. I've been working on this thing for 5 years now and finally got to the point where I ran into a huge issue. When I'm fully turned, stuffed all the way up, the tire, inside of the tire hits the coilover. Oh. My shocks do not clear my frame or my tire, and that's kind of a big deal. Last week, I spent the whole entire week dealing with the dang thing, trying to get it to work, and none of the brackets that we made this week are going to work. I now have all of the right pieces, which I need to just assemble and put together, weld up, put them on square, and this time, if it ends up clearing, I'm gonna probably be the happiest guy that you've ever seen. And while I'm trying to solve that problem on that turd, Alex is gonna be working on his. He thinks he's further than me, but he's got a ton to do. He may be painted, but he's got a long ways to go.
I might get mine done this year. I don't know about you.
I don't know if we should have a race or something to who gets done first. Actually, you may beat me, but I can probably guarantee that you're gonna have more problems than me when we hit the first trail.
This is like the 4th rebuild since I've had the Jeep. I should probably like slow down and do it right.
So needless to say, we've got a big week and we're just gonna get going on it. All right, in order to get my Jeep going and these shocks on, I've got to take all the parts that we made last week. These are the axle side shock mounts. They're offset like that, so it staggers the coilover and the bypass. Axle side, chassis side here, they're both staggered 1.5 inches. So these are gonna get welded inside that. These are gonna get bent up, kind of an intricate bracket, but this should be the solution to all the problems. So I'm just gonna weld them up, square them up, sand them down, because I like them to look nice, and then get these things welded up.
The reason I gotta get mine done soon is I just got married, and so I haven't had time to work on it. And now we got Trail Hero coming up in a couple months. So I gotta have a Jeep for her to ride in so we can go do all these trails. And I have a lot of work to do. And this all kind of stems from me just really wanting to beat Caleb's Jeep because he twin turboed his and spent a whole bunch of money. I'm gonna single turbo this one. I did it way cheaper. And if I can beat him, this is gonna be hilarious.
You may beat him if your motor holds up.
That's true, and I'll smoke you unless you do what you say you might do.
Thing is you guys are tempting me to do something that I really shouldn't do on my Jeep, but you can't let your little brother beat you.
All right, I'm gonna go get this cut down and a new end crimped on so my steering's done, and then a couple other fittings that I need to finish my air locker system. I got all the lines plumbed in now, so my steering is literally done besides one hose. I need -A AN to finish that up, but it's pretty much actually better than it was. So I'm actually excited to see if this radial dynamics setup is better than the PSC, because I literally always had problems with the PSC pumps. They'd whine, they'd go out, they'd leak. So hopefully radial dynamics comes through for us because I'm sick of having steering problems. So now I'm gonna start working on the onboard air system. So I've got to take this like AC compressor thing, convert it over to pump air, drill it and tap it, put some fittings in it, and start plumbing the air system. All right, I got the head off because what you do is you cut these puppies off and you drill and tap that hole so you can put a fitting in. But as I did that, I'm looking at the valves up here, and I noticed a couple metal chunks, just little ones right there. And I was just gonna clean them off and run it. And then Braid told me you should probably look at the pistons. So I did.
Oh. That ain't supposed to look like that.
I don't see the problem.
What are you gonna do? Put some seafoam in it and run it?
I'm just gonna clean it up a little bit and maybe try to, get those holes circle again. And it might still pump air.
Dude, that sucks. You were pumped about that compressor.
The thing that really sucks, I got this from a buddy. He gave it to me because he works on semis. And he was like, dude, if you're looking for one, I'll get you one. And obviously he didn't know that it was bad, but I painted it black. I put a new freaking pulley on it. I was all pumped.
Did you put the American flag sticker on it too?
No, but I masked that off when I painted it because that was cool. So now I gotta wait to get a new one because that's probably what my 5.3 is gonna look like on the first pull on the dyno.
If that compressor was really made in the USA, it wouldn't have looked like that inside.
That's a good point. I want to know how many of you would just run it, because I'm thinking about it.
Okay, this is why people make fun of me. I started on these brackets at 10:30 this morning, and it is now 9:39, and I just finished them up, and they're cooling down right now. I spent dang near all day on these dang things, and I think they turned out pretty dang good.
That's not the only reason people make fun of you.
You just had to bring that up, didn't you? Okay, I may get made fun of by a few other things too, but these brackets ain't gonna be one of them. I feel like I got more grinding dust in my lungs and my nose than I've ever had. Oh, it's actually not too bad. I was expecting that to be completely black. Anyway, but they're done. That's all that matters.
Well, we gotta let Brady's shock mounts that he's built 38 times cool down, and they still probably ain't even gonna work. Well, we're gonna go get ready for a 4th of July fireworks show with the whole family, and it's a perfect time to tell you guys about today's sponsor, Minky Couture, and their new outdoor blanket.
Guys, I'm not kidding here. What we're about to show you could seriously change your life.
These things are amazing because they're as soft as a normal Minky on the inside, and the outside is totally water resistant. So you can, throw it on the grass, throw it on the dirt. They actually have this cool feature to where this thing folds into a hood, and it's got little hand pockets. So if you ever get rained on and you're out in the park or whatever, you've got a waterproof jacket.
On top of that, they got different colors, styles, and sizes of blankets. So I can guarantee you're gonna find one that you love.
That one's my size, and this one's Brady's size. What? So we ordered one for him too.
Why am I always the fun-sized one? You're only like 2 inches taller than me.
That's the difference from a small to an XL. So they come with this little backpack thing, and it's got a zipper and a little pocket so you can throw your snacks in there, your spaghetti. And the cool thing is, chuck them right in your Jeep. That gets your wife out Jeeping with you, because when she gets cold, she's got a blanket that she can just throw in the washer. It's perfect.
Minky Couture hooked you guys up for Valentine's Day and Mother's Day this year, and they're hooking it up again. So not only are your wives gonna be pumped, but you're gonna be pumped as well because you're gonna save some money here.
Minky Couture is hooking our audience up with 50% off any full-priced blanket. So go to softminkyblankets.com/PeckBrothers50 and use code PeckBrothers50 to get 50% off any full-priced blanket. So thank you, Minky Couture, for supporting our channel, sponsoring today's video, and hooking us up with some fun blankets that we can go watch fireworks with our families with.
All right, it is the next day. These brackets are nice and cool, and I just realized that I just took a really good-looking bracket and made them kind of ugly with my welds, but it really doesn't matter as long as they hold. Also, I didn't really explain how these brackets work or why we built them this way, but what this does is this sits down on the axle tube, just like that, up against the knuckle, and it offsets the shocks just like the frame does right here. So when it flexes out, it's following the contour of the frame. That's why they're like that. That front bolt is really hard to get to, so this has to slide in perfectly through that hole that I had to cut out. And essentially that's all that there is to it. Both the lower and the upper are offset about 1.5 inches, which is exactly what the frame ended up being. So now all I gotta do is just weld these all on square, plumb, and true, and cross my fingers that they cleared the frame this time. Well, axle mounts are done.
While Brady's kind of tacking all of his stuff together, I had Sean make me this sweet engine cover out of aluminum. It's actually going to be what holds my intercooler and a bunch of different brackets. So I'm having to figure out a way to mark the holes from behind and I'm kind of having a hard time figuring it out. I tried painting it and then pressing it on. It didn't really transfer, so I'm gonna have to find a good way to do that. All right, I made this little thing out of tungsten, like our little welding thing.
What? Welding thing?
This is the welding thing that you weld with. Anyways, I measured exactly how deep these holes are, and then I made it sharp on the tip. So you can just put this in the hole, and then put the engine cover right where it needs to go, tap it, and then it'll have a little divot, and that's where you drill. So I hope it works.
You know, you don't look like a very smart person, but that's actually thinking right there.
I don't think very much, but I finally did on that one. All right, all the holes somewhat lined up. I had to drill a couple of them out a little bigger because that method's not perfect, but it worked. And now I can take my air to water intercooler, put it on top. It's gonna hook right into the turbo, just like that.
Oh my heck.
Clamp, and then I'm gonna do a 45 out here and a 180 straight into the throttle body. Then I'll have a separate cooling system that plugs into here that'll cool the air, and it's gonna have a cooler up here, so that's why the radiator's in. So now I'm kind of transferring to doing the cooling system, and to do the cooling system, I've got to know where the wiring goes, and it's a big mess, but we are getting further.
Kids came out and changed that. We're there. These babies are on. These are just temporary right now, just because I need to make sure everything works. But now you can kind of see why they had to be like this. This back tube right here had to line up here. Right here is the brake master cylinder, and it's got about a 1/2 of an inch from this. And then each shock is staggered. This one's here and this one's back here. That's why you can't see that bolt on that side. So same thing with the shocks, offset there to match the frame in there. And same thing with the other side. I feel like they turned out pretty dang good. I think they went on better this time than they ever have. Got braces right here holding those up so those can't move. Everything's a little bit more than tack, so everything should hold up when we flex it. I think it's time to drop the body back on it. And before I test for the shock clearance, I've got one thing that I'm super pumped about. I think they're gonna fit underneath the hood, and that was one of the bonuses to redoing all of this.
So how many more times do you think we'll have to do this? That wasn't funny.
This is the last time, dude. This is it. I feel pretty good about this. Everything went together nice. Should be the right measurements now. We're solid.
I'm not gonna lie, those look way sick, and they look like they're gonna work.
I'm glad you said that, because I feel the same thing. And I would love it if I didn't ever have to take this body off ever again because of these shocks. I'll be the happiest guy you've ever seen.
Ooh, this is where it gets close.
It clears. Don't you worry.
That and that.
Oh, flip. We're touching. Sorry, I got distracted.
What you gotta do is 8-step process to get this lift out from under the body. All right, now that those are up there, you can set the body all the way down, and we can see which part of these don't work.
Well, hold on. We need to go back. All right, there we go. You ready? See, clears.
It's looking good.
It is looking good. So far, so good. All right, dude, if this clears the hood, I'm gonna be one excited dude. Please, please. goodness, dude.
I haven't seen that hood all the way shut in like a year.
It clears with probably 1/8 of an inch. Oh, yeah. Oh, that is such a freaking relief, dude. Oh my gosh, that's a relief.
Dude, that's a good sign. Like, the first thing we test out works. It clears the hood so it fully shuts because it never did that before. He was gonna have to cut through his hood. So, fitment number 1 works.
All right, now for the real test. Let's get this thing flexed up. See what it does. My heart is pounding, dude. I'm nervous.
That's a lot of weeks worth of work coming down to in like a minute. We're gonna see if it was worth it.
If it doesn't work, dude, tell everybody that I love them, because I might have the ultimate freak out, and who knows what's gonna happen then.
All right, let's see if this thing works. How we looking so
Okay.
far?
The shock doesn't hit the coil spring. The slider touches, but we're gonna clearance that. That's full stuff on this side. This one, this is where the big, oh dude, I'm nervous. I'm more nervous than I was on my very first date when I was a sophomore.
You got a date when you were a sophomore?
I'm as nervous as I would have been if I had a date when I was a sophomore. Oh
Let's
my
see
gosh.
it.
All right, here we go.
Oh my gosh.
It clears, dude.
No
Yeah.
way, dude.
Oh my gosh. We're good. We are good. This thing's got shocks. Oh my goodness. Oh. By that much. This is the thing. When I'm aired down in weird situations, it'll probably maybe brush that spring, but that's okay. I'm gonna live with that, and that'll be totally fine. Look at all of this other stuff that had to clear. This tube has got to clear those. Yeah. The axle swings further this way because it's got a track bar that swings this way, so that's gonna get clearance on that side of the frame. This all has to clear with the steering box. I mean, that's, how close is that? 1/2 of an inch?
Pretty close.
Maybe a little more than 1/2 of an inch. The last thing that I haven't checked yet. Remember the steering shaft was a problem?
Yeah, steering's a problem.
Okay. Everything else has worked. Maybe it'll work. Ooh. That's pretty close. That's pretty close. I'm not gonna say it won't work, but Nate's gonna have fun dealing with that one because he said he has an idea for it. This thing's gonna be running and driving by next week.
What?
I don't really know why today is going as well as it is, but with those clearing, the shocks on, mounted where they need to, and everything clearing for the most part, I started messing with other things like the steering box, which was a problem. I literally, since these shocks are on, I was able to position the steering box where it needed to go, which helped the pitman arm, which helped the bracket on the motor, which helped the steering shaft even more. It just solved a whole bunch of issues. So I don't really know what's going on today, but this thing's really coming together.
Yeah, I feel like I had a pretty good day, but I think your day was way better than mine.
I swear, every single time we do this, you get way more done than me. And I think I got way more done than you did.
I wouldn't go that far. You just welded some brackets on.
Oh.
Today I did a bunch of ordering, like probably $800 worth of crap that I didn't know I needed. I did mount my front cooler. This is for the secondary cooling system for the intercooler. So that's mounted. I got the holes drilled for my intercooler mount. I just have to go buy a tap tomorrow. I know where my coil packs are gonna mount. And I have exhaust showing up tomorrow morning. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be able to get all my 3-inch exhaust for the crossover to go over to that. So hopefully tomorrow's a good day. I am pretty pumped about Brady's Jeep. He did get a lot done even though it was just welding brackets on. That's the biggest deal that could have happened this week.
Well, just when we think that the day couldn't get any better, look who shows up. What are you doing?
Duty calls and somebody messaged me on Facebook and wanting to buy my red 6.0.
Oh, heck yeah.
So I got to figure out, there's one last little tiny thing, a vacuum problem that's making it so you can't switch the heater controls. And I don't want anything I want to give this guy a ding. I want the deal to work out perfect. So I'm out here late, lose asleep. All the kids are asleep and I'm out here trying to make it happen.
I got something to show you. You ain't even gonna believe it. Yeah, that's all she's got. We got clearance there. Remember this one was the problem?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We have little washers in the back of the wheels, so that's why it's touching, but I mean, look at that. She clears. Holy cow. It clears the tire, clears here on the steering arm, clears the bypass on both sides, the steering box, the steering shaft.
Dude, that only took you like 8 tries and you nailed it. Dude, I'll bet Sean's gonna have to service his freaking water jet after
Oh yeah.
the amount of those he's cut out.
Yeah, it's wore out for sure.
Dude, let's go.
Yeah, dude. This thing's gonna get done one day.
One day.
Yeah. All right, it is time to finish these things off for good. So if you notice the front tubes that go up to the front part of the shock bracket, they're just on temporarily. So I need to make the 2 new front tubes that snake around the grill, clear the steering box, and go up into the shock mount perfectly. I kind of assumed this would be a little bit easier than it is, but it's actually not, and I'll show you why. Okay, so this one I just got tacked down here, and it kind of bends out. This is just a scrap piece. It's got to clear that steering box, which I have about not even a finger's worth right there. It's got to go and land up in here underneath that perfectly. So it's on a bit of an angle. But the thing that drives me nuts about that design is it doesn't follow the grill surround. See right here, if you follow this up, you can see that thing sticking back out there like that. I just don't like it. So somehow I've got to figure out a way how to land this tube on this piece, snake it around the grill, snake it around that, while following the contour of this and landing it right there. This may be way too much to ask, but if I can get this right, it's gonna weld up the side of the frame, which will help the side-to-side motion on these shock mounts.
Do you have to wear those?
What?
Do you have to wear those glasses?
Yeah, I gotta wear these glasses. I don't want to flipping metal in my eye.
I might take a trip to town just to buy you different glasses.
What's wrong with these?
All right, I've been working on exhaust for most of the day. All my stuff showed up. I bought just a bunch of like 90 degrees, 45 degrees, all in this 3-inch stainless. I've just kind of been piecing and puzzling it together, and I gotta show you guys something. Here's my first piece. So it comes around the front of the oil pan. Here's my second piece. But the problem is I don't know where this link, how far it travels down and over. So I'm gonna have to put this thing in place and cycle it and see if this would end up hitting this. And if it does, we've got big problems. All right, we got this thing up in the air somewhat, and it looks like that link will barely miss it. So I think I can keep building up from there and eventually get up through here and tie into here, because it's got to tie into the turbo somehow. I still don't know how that's going to happen, but at least I can get it up to there and then figure the rest out.
Well, that's probably the craziest cope I've ever coped before.
Whoa.
And this piece turned into that after a little bit of bending, a little bit of grinding, and I think it's gonna work.
Why are you still wearing those glasses?
Protecting my eye. Look at this. That thing sits in there.
Holy crap.
Goes up in there. That fits that pretty nice and tight. And come look at it from right here. It follows the contour of our grill surround.
Jeez.
Just call me the tube guy.
I'll call you the tube guy.
I'm gonna tack this baby in, and then I'm gonna make another one for that side, because I kind of have to weld this one in so it doesn't move, because, yeah. I'm just gonna weld this
Anyway.
right now. All right, there's the second one, and I wish I was a genie, and I wish I could take credit for that, but I'm not. Centurial makes these little things that you slide onto the tube, and you can literally mark it. So you make the cope out of this first, and then mark it. Makes it freaking easy. And then I make 1-inch increment marks up the whole entire thing, so I know exactly where to measure off of and where to put the bend. So this should match that one exactly, and it's ready to get tacked on. And it sits down in there like that. And this one follows the grill surround perfectly too. So tack that on, take my flipping ratchet straps off, and these things are dang near there.
I wish we had a 3-inch Centurial thing, because you got to come see what I just did. I've probably spent the last 2 hours, maybe 3, trying to get this thing done.
What do you got going on here?
So I had to cope that thing to fit
Wow.
that.
Well,
We've only got about like an inch gap all the way around, but it's pretty good.
the cope's actually pretty decent.
It's nothing we can't fill.
No, I've seen you fill some pretty big gaps. That looks awesome, dude. Guys, these shocks are on, and they're on for good, and they ain't changing. They turned out better than I even expected.
I'm freaking pumped that those are done and that you can finally move on to something else.
For sure, no more giving me crap that I can't get anything done. Did you even get your crap done?
I literally finished the exhaust last night. Check it out.
No way. Is it gonna leak?
Oh yeah, probably everywhere.
Holy flip. Wow. Dude. Oh my heck. Dude, you're hired. Next week you're doing mine.
That took me all day. That was like a 12-hour day to make one piece. It was horrible, but I am glad it's done.
You even tied it in to everything. Like, it's all wide in and TIG welded and V-band clamped. You know, you don't look very smart, don't act very smart, or seem very smart at all, but that's pretty good.
That's probably the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
That right there was a buttload of work, but we got pretty dang far this week. And we got one more thing that we're gonna do. We're gonna give the giveaway winner a call because we got the name back this week. Okay, actually, before we call a guy, the winner, we gotta address Fred here. For everybody that watched last week, Fred got hit by a side-by-side, and we thought broke his back leg. We took him into the vet, they did some x-rays, and found out that the bone is not completely broken, but his little tendons that hold his knee straight are either tore or not there. So instead of, going through surgery and dealing with all that, it's the same recovery time, and it'll end up being stronger if we just let him heal the way it is. So he's kind of just hobbling around on one leg. Here, come over here, Brad. He doesn't put any pressure on it, but he's healing up all right. He's doing a lot better than when after he got hit last week. So I think he is getting better, and he's been a good boy. So with that being said, let's call this guy.
All right, so we just got the name back. The winner is Dennis Lee from Texas. It's crazy because he bought 2 shirts and a pack of jerky, and that won him both of these bikes. So I texted him, asked him if he has FaceTime, and he said no. And I said, will you go buy an iPhone? He said no. So we're just gonna call him.
I want to see what this guy looks like.
Me too. I want to see his reaction.
I hope he cries. I hope he's tears of joy. I don't know what joys of tear are, but
Joys of tear.
Hello?
Hey, is this Dennis?
Yeah?
Dennis, this is Alex Pegg from Pegg Brothers. How are you?
Good?
Good. Well, I'm just calling to let you know that you are the winner of the 2 e-bikes from our giveaway.
Nice.
Are you pumped?
Yeah?
heck yeah. You don't sound like a man of many words.
I'm currently at work. I don't talk much, but I'm also at work right now, too.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, gotcha. All right, brother. I'll let you go. I'll get in touch with you.
All right.
Thanks,
Goodbye.
Dennis.
Well, I don't know. I'd be pretty pumped if I was winning them bikes. He's at work, though. We'll give him a break. So thank you to everybody that supported us. We're going to have another giveaway coming soon. So that's pretty fun that you can win these kind of things from a couple shirts and a pack of jerky.
That's why we do those. They're fun for us. They're fun for you guys. It gives everybody a chance to win. And we'll see you guys next week.